how good it is to live in the wild. We had barbecue on the third day of the opening. There's protein everywhere. Survival is like a vacation. You get grilled meat every day. The new season of Man into the Wild begins. The destination of this challenge is the Atchafalaya Swamp. It's over 260 kilometers of rotting land. This is where the survival guys split into 4 groups. A 60-day wilderness survival challenge. The first team is Matt, Riley, and Ryan. The channel here is full of crocodiles. In such a hostile environment, Mark, on the other hand, was very confident. He's a returning contestant from last season. Hunting ability and survival ability are the strongest. But surviving 60 days in a swamp is crazy for him. Riley was very stressed about the challenge. The first challenge is too long. The next year, in her late 30s, she had low body fat, which means she's not very hungry. But as a returning contestant from last season, her strength is also not to be underestimated. As they passed a small river path, saw a crocodile looking at them. But what the crocodile didn't know, these are the kind of people crocodiles have nightmares about. When they arrived at their destination, I started taking off my clothes and heading into the jungle. It's 24 kilometers to the south. Team 2 is Steven, Lacey, and Jeff. They're in a low-lying flood zone. It's a breeding ground for blood-sucking mosquitoes. They're scarier than Chinese zombies. Crocodiles are still everywhere. 60 days in the wild. Jeff is a regular. He basically lives off this show. You get a $100,000 bonus every year, and you get fat. Steven is also a returning contestant from last season. His hunting ability is also very strong, but he's excited about the 60-day survival challenge. It feels like an impossible mission. Lacey is also a returning contestant from last season, but not every returning contestant is great. Lacey is a vegetable chicken. This girl was on her own, lose the entire team's firearm. Jeff was also very worried that the bitch was going crazy. Jeff for this challenge. The food is too fat. 9 miles west of here. There are Max, Amber, and Gary. This area has the most leishio. Crocodiles are also everywhere, not only ashore. There's a crocodile lying on the bottom of the river. This place is dangerous, but they're all back in the season. Gary is a wilderness scavenger. I mean, what kind of shit do you eat? In his eyes, you can eat a dead fish. When we get to our destination, we start to rattle off our clothes. Amber has a lot of determination to win this challenge. 13 kilometers north, there's Sarah, Susan, and Snyder. They were in the very center of the marsh. Snyder is a comeback player. Viability is not in doubt. He also has 3 years of experience as a marsh ranger. Everything here is very familiar to him. But a strong man takes 2 girls with him. Maybe not as comfortable as I thought I would be. The ship hasn't come near yet. They can't wait to get in the water. There are a lot of crocodiles in the water. Large leishio is also widely available. They just walked in the water. Matt's team is on their way to the supplies section, but the backpack is cut off by a river. They also have to venture into the water. Ryan hunted an alligator last season. This crocodile is not big, but he could eat barbecue every day and win the championship. This time it's a 60-day challenge. He's still feeling a little pressure. When they got the backpack, no one chooses their own tools of survival. It was mostly a machete and some warm things. Hides, but it's still fresh. They can eat the hides. You can also use it as a warm item for the upcoming winter. In addition to the fire sticks and iron pots provided by the show team, the show also provides them with some basic survival gear. But each team can only choose 3 pieces. Matt's team chose fishing gear, pararopes, and bows and arrows. Jeff's team also chose fishing tools and paracord. Gary group they also choose fishing tools and gave up the bow and arrow. Max thinks the most food is in the water. And Snyder's team chose fishing tools. They were in the jungle. They also chose bows and arrows to hunt deer and other small animals. But they gave up their paracord tools to hunt alligators. Snyder thought he could just kill the alligator with a knife. There are many kinds of arrows in the bow and arrow, and it's totally crocodile hunting. After each team selects their survival items, they have to choose the right location for the shelter. Opening day. Amber has experience catching alligators and leishio. She is very much looking forward to eating a good meal here. Matt, they came across a spicy strip on the road. These little sixes are often more dangerous. Not hungry on the first day. This little spicy strip can be used as bait to catch crocodiles. Jeff's side is looking for shelter, too. A crocodile enters the water nearby. Succeeded in getting their attention. This position is relatively high. Perfect for shelter. There's protein all over the place. If you are willing to work hard, you will not starve to death. Gary and his team have found a better position. They plan to use the natural environment to build a shelter. Susan had some difficult teammates in the past. She just took the team's only iron pot and poker. All my teammates are getting their periods. This time he hoped the team would get along better. Otherwise, they chop them up and feed them to the crocodiles. Teammates are also very active work. They cleared a large clearing. Expect them to build a beautiful shelter. Gary, they smelled rancid on the road. Their lot is a swamp. It was very difficult to walk. This side should have the most leishio. Every one of them was now in the mud and suffering. I barely made it out of the swamp. It took a lot out of them to get started. Looking forward to finding a suitable location here. Matt's team picked a spot too. It's surrounded by water and swamps. It's hard to pick a perfect location. Riley suggested building a long-term shelter here. Take advantage of the environment to build a log cabin. The whole idea is, fallen trees act as beams. Then put branches around it. Cover the roof with reeds and grass. After planning, they started gathering materials to build shelters. Soon they had the shelter set up. The next step is to make a fire and boil water. The smoke from the fire repels mosquitoes. The first day went well for them. Gary and they found a spot too. It's not just sunny and dry, and the neighborhood is perfect for fishing. To prevent the morsels from drilling at night, they decided to build a bed first. Amber was the only woman on the team, but she is definitely a strong woman. They are constantly collecting wood. This group of players is more capable. Amber and Musk are good mid-season hunters. And Gary would never starve in the wild. Don't talk about eating ants. I've eaten my own shit. They didn't just make a fire. The little wooden bed was also built. It's not very comfortable to lie down, but it would be nice to isolate the ground. And Jeff's side. Lacey meets her brother-in-law and Steven. She just lay down and won. As long as you don't throw away the pot and the fire stick like last season, pretty much until the end. Snyder just finished setting up the bed. There's not much time left in the day. Mosquitoes are terrible at night. There's only one clearing on Jeff's side. They were attacked by mosquitoes. It's barely dark and they've been bitten 10,000 times. Every team can't hide from the mosquitoes. There's nothing they can do. Just open your legs and let the mosquito enjoy. These fires do nothing to repel mosquitoes. The fire attracts more words. The big guys who just got here. Before you get used to it, every night is destined to be a sleepless night. Jeff wanted to jump into the water to escape the mosquitoes. But this will be the crocodile's dinner. Either way, we're dead now. It's impossible to sleep for even 10 minutes. Mosquitoes bite until they're full. Time to the next day. They went through hell last night, both mentally and physically. They were destroyed from beginning to end. Jeff has been bitten thousands of times. His feet were swollen like pig's feet. Riley was so sleepy after a sleepless night. Even if the environment here is harsh, they still encourage each other. Today they continue to improve the shelter. Gary teamed this way. Sarah woke up and joked about how cruel last night was. The mosquito bites covered him all over. Snyder wants to complete the shelter roof. He was explaining the plan to two girls. After the two girls listened, I actually said one thing. I'm a good judge of character. That's what this girl said. The Snyder crew must be having a rough time back there. After all, these girls look like they want to win. Snyder also made a serious mistake. Talking to a girl about a plan. Time is wasted by them little by little. You know, you can't stop talking to girls. And chick advice is pretty mindless. Soon Snyder sensed something was wrong. He's the main man of the team. It's hard to expect girls to do anything, you know. The two girls have been working hard on their shelter plans. Doesn't care if Snyder can do it or not. Just talk about ideas. They can talk for 60 days. Snyder also has his say. It's clear the girls are not up for it. It's a lot of work if you don't like it. Matt's got smoke in his hands. His team should be the first to complete the shelter. Matt made the shelter as airtight as possible. This is the only way to stop the large number of mosquitoes at night. Once the shelter is set up, they began to set up their crocodile fishing gear. Using the spicy sticks we caught yesterday as bait, put it on the hook. Crocodiles hunt food by smell and sight. He needs to smell it and see it before he attacks. They made several hooks. Here we see crocodiles in the water. You can fill up any one of them, but not every location is suitable as a fishing spot. Water depth position up to the knees. Perhaps the success rate would be greater. They first tied the rope to the tree, then hang the hook on a horizontal surface. As soon as the crocodile jumps up and bites, I'll be able to hook it. Lay out as many hooks as possible. This will increase the success of the hunt. After setting up, just waiting for the crocodile to bite. They're on their way back. Crocodiles can also be seen nearby. Pick up a rock and jerk it off. What is such a small crocodile afraid of? Gary's team is perfecting the shelter. Boiled water tastes like foot wash. I was up all night disturbed by mosquitoes. Today they must complete the shelter. They need a lot of these leaves for shelter roofs. There's plenty across the river. Gary plans to go over and collect some. This high guy's not afraid to die. I dare to swim across the water. The team is waiting on the shore for the high guy to fight the gator. When Gary came ashore, he saw many crocodile footprints. Alligators are everywhere. He began to collect palm leaves. When he wanted to come back, Amber told him there was a crocodile nearby. Gary panicked when he looked at the crocodile, but he chose to come. The crocodile began to swim towards him. My teammates are staring out of their eyes. This high guy's not afraid to die. Too bad there were no surprises. Huh. Gary managed to get the palm leaves to the shelter. What Gary did was brave. But Max thinks he can take his teammates to their deaths anytime. Jeff, team this way. They are also rushing to build shelters. They survived the worst of the night, but there are 60 more nights like this. They have to complete the shelter as soon as possible. There are a lot of crocodiles around here. Jeff intends to use some fur to do as well occasionally. Set up the alligator hooks early. Hang the bait from the tree above the water, so the crocodile will jump up and eat. Once it swallows the hook, it's gonna be Jeff's trophy. Jeff goes into the water and sets the hook. Put the hook this far. Do you have to go in and pull a crocodile when you catch it? Lacey saw an alligator nearby. This is really thrilling. After a couple of hours on Snyder's side, finally starting to put up the roof of the shelter. The idea of their shelter is simple, just trying to build a big A-frame, then put leaves on the roof. It has a wooden bed, and a fire was set up to warm it. But in building it, Snyder wasn't happy with the girls' performance. Snyder felt they had many opinions. I can't do anything when I'm working. Girls don't think they have a problem anyway. What's wrong with you, Snyder? Since I woke up today, the red monster never left this tree. Tell Snyder to do everything. If killing wasn't illegal, I would have fished her for alligators. But as a teammate, he's got 60 more days. All night long, the mosquito army starts coming out. It's impossible to sleep in here. They had to be fed by mosquitoes. It's even scarier. Jeff's shelter here is flooded. There's water under my feet. They're only now realizing it. The water is rising here every day. That means their shelter can no longer be built. Tonight is more difficult than last night. Time came to the third day. They woke up to find all around them flooded. If it's raining, then it's bound to go up even more. They had to find another suitable place to build shelter as soon as possible. Jeff said, if I don't move today, I'll probably be sleeping with an alligator tonight. Everyone else is starting to perfect the shelter. They're still looking for a place to set up shelter. Hope they got off to a rough start. How much you enjoy it later. Jeff looked at the map and picked a new location. Better not forget that crocodile trap we set up yesterday. Because I saw the alligator bite the hook. Having chosen their position, they proceeded on their journey. Matt teamed this way. They were a team that built a shelter. The first task when I wake up every day is to gather enough firewood, so you can use it any time at night. Matt and Ryan pooped nearby. He felt a rush of heat, but Ryan didn't feel it. Matt looked down at his family. I found a rash by the gutter in front of my house. It's like being run over by a train, probably pooping in a haystack. Got cut by the grass by accident. Ryan felt the pain when he saw it. Riley felt bad about it, too. It's just hard to look at. Matt's worst fear is getting hit by a car. Remembering his previous experiences, feet infected with carnivorous bacteria, had to withdraw from the race. It's a dangerous position right now. Family involved, so the doctor was called in the first place. Matt's family will be monitored when the doctor gets here. Upon observation, doctors think it's a nutria bacterial infection because Matt smeared mud all over himself to keep mosquitoes away, causing bacterial infections in the body. The nutria is a large aquatic rodent. Its feces contain a large number of parasitic eggs, infected with bacteria twice in a row. Well, that's just bad luck opening the fucking door and getting home. The doctor told him not to sit on the ground. Bags of nuts should be kept dry and not wet. But in the swamp, it is very difficult to keep the body dry. Here's what I don't understand. After the doctor's here, don't you want to disinfect them? This Matt thing put Ryan on alert, too. Now all Matt has to do is make a fire to dry the berry bags. He's constantly watching his family. Ryan shook his head as he watched. A teammate is unwell. This is very bad for them. They sat and rested in the shelter. Ryan suggested going out hunting, or you'll starve to death. Matt has a medical condition that prevents him from spraying water. This resulted in a very restricted hunting range. Ryan caught a little lizard. He was going to use it as bait for fishing. And Riley collects firewood. She sees a lot of crawfish holes here. Plan to catch some crayfish. Matt saw a squirrel over here, right ahead under the log. This distance is not only great, and the hunting is complicated. Matt took the bow and shot. Too bad it's only about the Pacific Ocean. That's pretty close. I hope next time I can hunt a squirrel. Snyder's here guiding the two girls through the roof of the shelter. These two tripods were set up in one day yesterday. They've had enough of the night here, so the shelter must be perfected as soon as possible. Snyder's tired of what girls think, too. He just wants to get the shelter done. The girls are too slow. The team is very shady. If you don't hunt for food, I guess it's hard to survive in this place. While building the shelter, the girl has another idea. They began to talk of their plans again. Snyder was speechless. Just a little problem. These two girls are gonna talk for hours. And he had a problem with what Snyder was doing. Snyder also exercises patience in the women, or they're really taking these girls to gator fishing. Two girls haven't stopped talking all day. It's all talk and no work. Pretend you have a lot of work on your hands, but you haven't done anything in a day. She loves nothing more than to point. The shelter's angle is a little less than satisfactory. We need to adjust it. The red monster was on the tree yesterday. I'm not ready to give up today. At last, he could stand it no longer. Snyder didn't think he'd make it to 60 days. Jeff, they're still trying to find a place for the shelter. It was muddy all the way. They finally saw a dry spot, but they have to cross the river. These positions are very dangerous. You're gonna get your ass chewed off by a crocodile. Fortunately, this area is very dry. After planning, they started building shelters right away. Starve for 3 days before building a shelter. It's really a waste of energy. They must build a complete shelter as soon as possible. Gary teamed this way. When they got up, they boiled the water in the fire. Today they plan to set up crocodile traps. Max sees many crocodiles here every day. It's the easiest protein they can get. It would be perfect if we could get them on the grill. Gary saw some beautiful flowers nearby. This is a hyacinth. He just picks it and eats it. Flowers contain honey. He tried eating flowers for energy. Max and Amber look for a spot to fish for alligators nearby. They caught some crayfish and fur as bait. You can catch a lot of crayfish by the river. Why don't they just grab crayfish and eat them? Isn't the spicy crawfish delicious? Max hooked the bait in the tree. Expect them to catch the big gators. Snyder sighed. Something has finally changed in their shelter. It's characteristic of Sarah to talk theory as she goes along. They used straw ropes as a frame for shelter. Just shut up. You could cook a meal in the time it takes to talk. Snyder can't stand girls giving their opinions all the time. He's looking for a place to shit, mostly to keep the girls from whining. Snyder found a big spicy bar here. He quietly attacked from behind, pressed down hard on the spicy stick with the branch. Looks like he just ate. I can take a shit and give a girl something to take home. Do you love this teammate? While the girls are still hard at work, Snyder returns to the shelter with the lacio. The girls are so excited they're gonna fly. Sarah was a big fan of Snyder. They peel the lacio. There's even a spicy strip in there. Have you ever seen lacio eat lacio? There's a lot of lacio in there. 2 latios at once. But there are too many lacio, which means it's dangerous everywhere. Gary grouped this way. Amber saw a crocodile in the water. Max wants to catch it. He made a hook. Try to hold the alligator with a hook. Their ideas are so simple. You want to hook the alligator with that. Big brother, it's a crocodile. No fool. Max threw the hook several times without catching the alligator. Amber was very disappointed in him, too. Riley found a crocodile nearby, too. Proteins are running around here, but I just can't catch it. Ryan takes a bath in the water. He began to feel tired. Maybe you haven't had a good night's sleep for several nights in a row. He had just finished a pot of water. I felt my stomach upset. At this point, he felt like vomiting. Less than a week, Riley had problems with both of his partners. I guess the water still needs to boil enough to drink. Ryan had to stop for a rest. If you still don't feel well, call the doctor. Breaking out in a cold sweat while lying down. I feel like shit's gonna come out. Susan's already cooking for lunch. She strung lacio on a branch, put it directly on the fire. Soon they were enjoying the roast. The spicy pork is very crispy. What they ate was a treat. The roof of the shelter was only half changed. They were completely absorbed in the delicious meat. The shelter on Jeff's side of the team is taking shape. I feel very hungry now. They're going to check out the crocodile traps. If we catch an alligator, Jeff will do the head press. Lacey will press the tail. Steven was responsible for killing the crocodile with a knife. They decided to return to their previous shelter, hoping to catch a big crocodile. Since coming here, found the toddler still hanging from it. Steven thinks, gator fishing is the same as fishing. We have to find the right bait. They're on their way back. Jeff saw a spicy strip under the tree. You can't miss the food that's delivered. Jeff was holding the branch to try to grab the spicy sticks. He wanted to drive the snakes out, then tell Lacey to cut with a knife. After drawing the snake out of the cave, it took a few seconds to subdue him. Crocodile not caught. This spicy strip is enough to make them happy. The success of the hunt gave them a boost of confidence. Lacey was also recognized by his teammates. This is Lacey's first snake. She felt the love of her teammates. Gary's team this way. Amber is going to make a fishing rod. It's not just crocodiles here. Crayfish are also abundant. We didn't catch the crocodile. Then fish for crayfish. Amber used the lacio as bait. Rotten meat is a favorite of Crawfish and Gary. If you can catch a big catfish, even better. Matt was hunting nearby. Saw a squirrel on the other side, but he can't touch the water. Even if they hunt, they can't get it back. Watching the fat move around on the other side, I drooled all over the floor. Jeff chopped the spicy strips into small pieces, put it on a stick, and bake it. They're the second team to get the barbecue. The spicy bar is roasted very well. It's nice to have barbecue so early in the game. There's no shortage of protein. All that's missing is luck. Time came to the 4th day. Gary and they lay in the shelter, heard a movement in the water. It was Amber's hook that made a noise. They managed to catch a big catfish. Amber was about to fly with excitement. This is really lucky. They grilled the fish directly over the fire. Looks like gringos love barbecue. Wouldn't it be better for fish soup? Starved for a few days. It's very sweet to eat fish. They don't eat the rest of the fish head, but Gary wants to eat it. He eats the eyes out of the catfish. And I invited Amber to taste it. I didn't think I'd throw up. Fish heads can be used as bait to catch crocodiles. And Matt's team over here. Ryan was still feeling under the weather. Maybe there's too much bacteria in the water. Now he risks dropping out. His teammates are also worried about his health. Ryan just vomited. The surprises are still in store for the contestants. Look forward to an update in the next video.